Others made whistling sounds, and the gas clouds changed colors very fast. Jake did not need a translator to know they were laughing at him. Vextar raised one of his forearms. "Tell us, human, what makes you think your kind deserves to join our council? What do you have that we need?" Jake took a deep breath. He had practiced this speech 100 times on a long trip from Earth. "We are new to space travel, but we learn fast. We survived on Earth for thousands of years. We know how to solve problems and work together. We think we can help make the galaxy a better place." The laughter got louder. A bug-like creature with 6 legs stood up and made rapid clicking sounds. The translator box next to Jake spoke in a flat robot voice. "The Hivari delegate says your species is too young. You have been in space for less than 50 years. We have been traveling between stars for thousands of years." Another creature that looked like a giant lizard with too many teeth spoke up. "Your ships are made of simple metal. Our ships are made of materials you cannot even see. Your weapons shoot metal bullets like ancient times. Our weapons use pure energy that can destroy whole cities." Jake felt his face get hot, but he kept his voice calm. "We may not have the best technology yet, but we are good at learning. Give us a chance to prove ourselves." Vextar made a sound like breaking glass. "Prove yourselves? Look at your ship outside our station. It took you 3 months to get here. Our mail ships move faster than your military vessels. Your weapons could not scratch the paint on our weakest cargo ship." Dr. Kevin Walsh stepped forward. "We understand we have much to learn, but humans have always been good at finding new ways to solve old problems. On Earth, we call it thinking outside the box." This made the creatures laugh even harder. A cloud of purple gas that called itself a Nephali pulsed bright yellow. "Thinking outside the box," the translator said. "You still think in boxes at all. We think in dimensions you have no words for." Admiral Carter had been quiet until now, but Jake could see her jaw getting tight. She was a soldier, and soldiers did not like being made fun of. "Perhaps," she said in her cold military voice, "you could give us a small task to prove what humans can do." Vextar's 4 arms moved in what might have been a shrug. "Very well. There is a small problem in the outer edge of the galaxy. Some primitive raiders have been attacking cargo ships in Sector 7 Alpha. Several worlds have asked for help, but this problem is too small for the Council to worry about." The lizard creature made a hissing sound that might have been laughter. "These raiders use old ships and simple tactics. Even you humans should be able to handle such a minor issue. If you can stop these raiders, perhaps we will consider letting you join us." Jake knew this was a trap. They were giving humans an impossible job and expecting them to fail. But what choice did they have? "We accept," he said. "Excellent," Vextar said, and his diamond skin flashed bright blue. "The raiders are called the Savage Clans. They have been causing trouble for 2 years. Our ships are too fast and too advanced to bother with such simple enemies. But your slow, primitive ships might be just right for the job." More laughter filled the room. Jake felt like a bug under a microscope. Every creature in the room was looking at him like he was something funny they found stuck to their shoe. "When do we start?" Admiral Carter asked. "Immediately," Vextar replied. "We will give you all the information we have about these raiders. You have 1 month to solve this problem. If you succeed, we will talk about membership again. If you fail—" He did not need to finish the sentence, as the 3 humans left the council chamber. The laughter followed them down the long hallway. Jake could hear the creatures making jokes about primitive humans and their metal ships. Some were already betting on how long it would take for the humans to run away. Crying out Admiral Carter walked beside Jake without saying anything, but he could tell she was angry. Her hands were closed into fists, and her face looked like stone. Dr. Walsh was typing notes on his tablet as fast as his fingers could move. "That went well," Jake said, trying to make a joke. "They have no idea what they just did," Admiral Carter said quietly. "What do you mean?" Jake asked. The Admiral stopped walking and looked back toward the council chamber. "They think they know everything about fighting because they have fancy energy weapons and fast ships. But they have forgotten the most important rule of war." "Which is what?" Dr. Walsh asked, looking up from his tablet. Admiral Carter smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Never underestimate your enemy. They think we are weak because our ships are slow and our weapons are simple. They are about to learn that sometimes simple works better than fancy." Jake felt a little better as they walked to their ship. The Galactic Council had laughed at humans today, but Admiral Carter was already planning something. He did not know what it was yet, but he knew that look in her eyes. It was the same look humans had when they were backed into a corner with no way out. It was the look that said the fight was just beginning. Who were kicked out of their homeworlds by the Council. Some refused to follow Council laws. Others were too poor or too weak to matter. The Council threw them away like garbage. Captain Susan Wright joined them at the table. She commanded the human warship Guardian, and she knew more about space fighting than anyone Amy had ever met. "I have been studying their attack patterns," Susan said. "These raiders are very smart. They hit fast, take what they need, and disappear before help can arrive." "What about Council ships?" Amy asked. "Why can't they stop the raiders?" Susan smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "The Council ships are designed to fight other Council ships. They use energy weapons that shoot beams of light and heat. But the raiders have learned to defend against those weapons." Dr. Rachel Young looked up from her computer. She was studying pieces of raider ships that had been left behind after attacks. "Their shields are amazing," she said. "They learn and change to stop energy weapons. When a Council ship shoots a laser at them, their shields figure out how to block that exact type of laser." Amy felt a cold feeling in her stomach. "So Council weapons don't work on them." "Exactly," Rachel said. "The Council has been using the same types of weapons for so long that the raiders know how to stop them all." Paul spread out a map of the sector on the table. Red dots showed where the raiders had attacked. They have been doing this for 2 years. The Council sends ships to fight them, but the Council ships are too slow and too predictable. By the time they arrive, the raiders are gone. Amy studied the map. The red dots made a pattern, like a spider web spreading out from the center of the sector. They have a main base somewhere, she said. Somewhere the Council has never found. That's what I think too, Susan agreed. But finding it will be hard. They know this sector better than we do. Amy closed the folder and looked at her team. These were good people, smart people, but they were only a few humans against an enemy that had been winning for 2 years. What advantages do we have? She asked. Our weapons, Susan said immediately. We use kinetic weapons. Bullets and missiles that actually hit the target instead of just shooting energy at it. Their shields are designed to stop energy, not solid objects moving very fast. Rachel nodded. I have been studying their shield technology. It works by analyzing the energy pattern of incoming weapons and creating a counter pattern to cancel it out. But if you shoot a chunk of metal at them, there is no energy pattern to analyze. What else? Amy asked. Paul thought for a moment. We think differently. The Council has been fighting the same way for hundreds of years. They have rules and procedures for everything. But humans learn to fight on Earth, where the rules change all the time. The Raiders have been winning because they don't fight fair, Susan added. They use tricks and surprises. But humans invented tricks and surprises. We have been using guerrilla tactics since we lived in caves. Amy felt something stirring in her chest. It was the feeling she got before a big mission, when all the pieces started to fit together. So we have weapons that can hurt them, and we know how to fight dirty. There is something else, Rachel said quietly. The Council ships are mostly run by computers. The aliens sit back and let machines do the fighting, but our ships are run by people. Real people who can think and change their minds in the middle of a fight. That's our biggest advantage, Amy agreed. When something goes wrong, we don't have to wait for a computer to figure out what to do. We just do it. A communication officer ran over to their table. Colonel Foster, we are getting a message from Earth. It's marked Priority 1. Amy took the message tablet and read it quickly. Her eyes got wide. Fleet Admiral Henry Baker is sending ships. A lot of ships. How many? Susan asked. Amy looked at the list. 2 battleships, 6 cruisers, 12 destroyers, and support ships. The biggest human fleet ever assembled. Paul whistled softly. They are taking this seriously. Admiral Baker says this is not just about stopping raiders. Amy continued reading. This is about showing the galaxy what humans can do. If we succeed here, we prove that Earth deserves respect. If we fail ... double quotes, she did not need to finish. Everyone at the table understood. This was humanity's one chance to prove they belonged in the galaxy. The Council expected them to fail. They were supposed to run away crying after the first battle. When do the ships arrive? Susan asked. 72 hours, Amy replied. Susan stood up and straightened her uniform. Then we better get ready. I want to know everything about these raiders before our fleet gets here. Where they hide, how they fight, what they are afraid of. And I want to talk to the people on Haven's Rest, Amy added. They have been fighting these raiders for 2 years. They might know things that are not in the reports. Paul gathered up his folders. I will start working on battle plans. Different plans for different situations. We need to be ready for anything. Rachel packed up her computer. I will keep studying their technology. Maybe I can find more weaknesses we can use. As the team split up to do their work, Amy stayed at the table looking at the map. Somewhere out there, the raiders were planning their next attack. They thought they were safe from the slow, clumsy humans. They thought human ships were too weak, and human weapons too primitive to be a threat. They were about to learn that being underestimated was exactly where humans liked to be. Amy smiled as she looked out at the stars. The galaxy had laughed at humanity. The Council had given them an impossible job and expected them to fail. But humans had been doing impossible things since they first looked up at the sky and decided to fly. The raiders had been winning for 2 years, but they had never fought humans before. They were about to discover that there was a big difference between beating the Council's computer-controlled ships and facing humans, who were angry and had something to prove. In 72 hours, the real fight would begin. And bullet weapons. The assembled captains erupted in harsh laughter. Grixtol's scarred face twisted into what might have been a smile. Humans? The Council sends children to fight warriors. I have seen their ship designs on our spy networks. They use chemical, rockets, and kinetic weapons. Technology that is hundreds of years old. Metal bullets against energy shields, laughed another captain. It will be like throwing rocks at a mountain. Grixtol raised his clawed hand for silence. Still, we should be careful. The humans destroyed our forward scouts near Haven's Rest. But that was probably just luck. Far above the asteroid field, the largest human fleet ever assembled dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of her flagship, the heavy cruiser Constitution. Around her ship, the rest of the fleet spread out in perfect formation. The battleship Texas was so big it cast shadows on the smaller ships around it. The cruiser Liberty bristled with weapons that no alien had ever seen before. 12 destroyers moved like hunting wolves between the larger ships. Every vessel was painted in the dark gray of Earth fleet and carried weapons that the galaxy had forgotten existed. "Admiral," said Commander Tony Martinez from the sensor station, "we are detecting multiple energy signatures in the asteroid field. At least 30 ships, maybe more." Admiral Carter studied the display screen. Red dots showed where enemy ships were hiding among the floating rocks. "Any sign they know we are here?" "No, ma'am. They are running silent, probably trying to avoid Council patrols." Carter nodded. The raiders' habit of hiding would work against them today. Signal all ships. Execute Operation Thunderbolt. The human fleet split into 3 groups, each approaching the asteroid field from a different direction. Unlike the bright Council ships that announced themselves across space, human vessels moved quietly through the darkness. Their crews had trained for this kind of fighting since childhood. Captain Nicole Torres stood on the bridge of the destroyer Vigilant as her ship threaded its way between asteroids the size of buildings. Her navigator, Lieutenant Mike Santos, guided them using only passive sensors and manual controls. No alien computer could have made the calculations needed to fly through the asteroid field without being detected. "Captain," whispered her communications officer, We are in position at the main entrance to their base. Torres looked at the massive asteroid ahead of them. From the outside, it looked empty, but her sensors detected the heat signatures of ships and people inside. Open a channel. The raider base's communication system crackled to life. Unknown vessel, identify yourself immediately. Torres smiled. She had been looking forward to this moment. This is Captain Nicole Torres of the Earth Fleet Destroyer. Vigilant, you are in violation of interstellar law. Surrender now or face the consequences. Inside the asteroid base, Grixtel stared at his screens in confusion. Where had this human ship come from? His sensors had shown nothing, and now there was a destroyer sitting right outside his front door. Impossible, he snarled. Destroy them. The base's defensive weapons came online. Massive energy cannons that could vaporize a council ship in seconds began tracking toward the small human destroyer. Their adaptive shields powered up, ready to analyze and counter whatever primitive weapons the humans might use. But the Vigilant was not using energy weapons that the destroyer's railguns fired first. These weapons used powerful magnetic fields to accelerate metal projectiles to incredible speeds. The shells left the guns traveling at 12% of the speed of light. The radar shields tried to analyze the incoming threat. They searched for energy patterns to counter, frequency signatures to block, heat emissions to deflect, but there were none. The shells were just chunks of metal, moving impossibly fast. The shields failed completely. The kinetic projectiles hit the asteroid base like the fist of an angry god. Each shell carried more energy than a small nuclear bomb. They punched through the rock wall like it was paper and exploded inside the base's main hangar. Grixtel was thrown to the floor as his command center shook like an earthquake. Emergency lights flashed red, and the sound of escaping air filled his ears. What happened? He roared. The shields, gasped Zermoth, his gas form flickering with panic. The shields did nothing. Their weapons just went right through. More impacts shook the base. Through the viewports, Grixtel could see human ships appearing throughout the asteroid field like ghosts becoming solid. How had they gotten so close? Without being detected? The raider ship Bloodclaw tried to launch from the base to fight back. Its captain, a veteran of 100 battles, powered up his energy weapons and targeted the nearest human destroyer. His adaptive shields were the best available, upgraded with technology stolen from council ships. The human destroyer fired a spread of missiles. But these were not the energy-based missiles that council ships used. These carried solid warheads and flew using chemical rockets that gave off almost no energy signature. The Bloodclaw's shields tried to stop them and failed again. The missiles struck the raider ship's hull and exploded in flowers of fire and metal. The ship spun out of control. Its hull cracked open like an egg. All across the asteroid field, the same scene played out again and again. Raider ships that had never been seriously hurt by council weapons found themselves helpless against human attacks. Their shields, so effective against energy weapons, were useless against solid projectiles and chemical explosives. But the real shock came when human boarding parties began attacking damaged raider ships. The aliens expected the humans to use energy weapons or robots like the council did. Instead, they found themselves facing human marines with bullet-firing rifles and explosive grenades. The marines moved through the ships like they had been born for this kind of fighting. They did not rely on computers or sensors. They used their eyes and ears and instincts. When a raider tried to ambush them, the humans reacted faster than any alien AI could calculate. Grixtel watched his fleet die on the tactical displays. After ship went dark, as human forces overwhelmed them. In less than 2 hours, the Confederation that had terrorized the Outer Rim for 2 years was falling apart. How are they doing this? He demanded of his surviving captains. None of them had an answer. They had prepared to fight council ships with their predictable tactics and energy weapons. They had never imagined facing an enemy that fought like the humans did. The base shook again as more kinetic rounds punched through its defenses. Grikstal realized with growing horror that the humans were not just defeating his forces. They were doing it easily, like warriors fighting children. He had laughed at the humans when he first heard about them. Now, as his base died around him, Grikstal understood that he had made the last mistake of his life. The effectiveness of kinetic weapons against adaptive shields was unexpected. Dr. Walsh stepped forward. Energy-based defenses are designed to counter energy-based attacks. When faced with solid projectiles moving at significant fractions of light speed, the adaptation protocols cannot function because there is nothing to analyze except mass and velocity. "But how did you approach our bases without detection?" asked a Koran delegate, his lizard face showing genuine curiosity. "Our sensors should have seen your ships from light years away." Admiral Carter answered with the confidence of someone who knew our business. "Human ships are designed for stealth operations. We learned long ago that the best weapon is surprise. Your sensors were looking for energy signatures and heat emissions. Our ships run cold and quiet when they need to. Most importantly," Dr. Walsh added, "human crews make decisions in real time. We do not rely on predetermined programming or artificial intelligence. Every human captain has the authority to change tactics during battle." The Nephili delegate, the purple gas cloud, pulsed with colors that showed deep thought. "This explains much. Our combat systems are optimized for efficiency and standardization. But you fight like each battle is unique." "Because each battle is unique," Admiral Carter said firmly. "No two enemies are exactly the same. No two situations are identical. Rigid thinking gets people killed." Council leader Vexstar leaned forward, all four of his arms now resting on the council table. "Your methods are effective, but they are also dangerous. What you did to the raiders was complete destruction. Your weapons caused damage that our energy systems could never achieve." Jake chose his words carefully. "We defended innocent people who could not defend themselves. The raiders who continued to fight were dealt with according to the laws of war. Those who surrendered were given new homes on colony worlds where they can live legally." This statement caused murmurs throughout the chamber. The concept of showing mercy to defeated enemies was rare in galactic politics. Most council races simply destroyed their enemies completely, or left them to starve. "Why did you spare the survivors?" asked the Zephyrian delegate. "Because," Jake said, we learned that most of the raiders were exiles and outcasts, people who had been thrown away by their own societies. They turned to raiding because they had no other choice. Give them a better choice, and many of them will take it. And the ones who refused your mercy, Vextar asked. Admiral Carter's expression grew cold. They made their choice. We honored it. The chamber fell silent. Every delegate understood the message. Humans would show mercy to those who deserved it, but they would show no mercy to those who continued to threaten innocent people. New voice spoke from the back of the chamber. It was deep and rumbling, like rocks falling down a mountain. There is another matter we must discuss. All eyes turned to see a representative of the Draconic Empire step forward. Dragons were the oldest and most powerful race in the galaxy. They rarely bothered with council meetings. The fact that one was here meant something big was happening. The dragon was massive, even bigger than Vextar. Its scales were black as space, and its eyes glowed like red stars. When it spoke, smoke came from its nostrils. The Empire has been watching these humans with interest. Their victory over the raiders was impressive. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The dragons were not part of the Galactic Council. They had their own empire in the core worlds, and they considered all other races to be inferior. If they were here, it meant trouble. The Empire has been expanding into Council space, the dragon continued. Our fleets have defeated Council forces in 3 sectors. Your energy weapons and standardized tactics are no challenge for our superior technology. Vextar's crystal form flickered with what humans had learned was fear. What does the Empire want? Submission, the dragon said simply. Join the Empire or be destroyed. Those are your only choices. Admiral Carter stepped forward, and Jake could see the fighting spirit in her eyes. And what about humanity? The dragon's red eyes focused on her like laser beams. Humans have proven they can fight effectively. The Empire offers you a choice. Join us willingly, and you will be treated as valued allies. Refuse, and you will be crushed like the Council. Jake looked around the chamber. Fear was written on every alien face. The Council delegates who had laughed at humanity just weeks ago were now looking at the humans like drowning people look at life preservers. We need time to consider your offer, Jake said diplomatically. You have 1 month, the dragon replied. Choose wisely. After the dragon left, the chamber erupted in panicked discussions. Delegates spoke in rapid clicks, hisses, and color changes. The universal translator could barely keep up with all the frightened voices. Vextar raised his arms for silence. When the chamber quieted, he turned to the human delegation. Ambassador Morrison, I believe we owe you an apology. We underestimated your species badly. Apology accepted, Jake said. More than that, Vextar continued, we would like to formally invite humanity to join the Galactic Council as full members, with all the rights and responsibilities that membership entails. Jake felt his heart racing. This was what they had come for originally, but now it came with a price. Joining the Council meant standing against the Dragon Empire. It meant war. We accept membership in the Council, Jake said after looking at his companions. Admiral Carter nodded firmly, and Dr. Walsh smiled with excitement. Then we faced the dragon threat together, Vextar said. Over the following weeks, human shipyards worked around the clock. Human engineers studied Council technology, while Council scientists learned about human weapons. The result was a new type of warship that combined the best of both civilizations. These hybrid ships had the advanced materials and energy systems of Council technology, but they were built with human design principles. They were tough, redundant, and carried human crews who could think and adapt during battle. When the Dragon fleet arrived at Rigel Station to demand surrender, they found something they had never encountered before. Ships that looked like Council vessels, but fought like human warships. Energy weapons and kinetic projectiles working together. Alien technology guided by human tactical thinking. The battle lasted 12 hours. When it was over, the Dragon Fleet was retreating for the first time in their recorded history. They had met an enemy that combined advanced technology with unpredictable tactics, and they could not counter it. Back on Earth, the news was celebrated in every city and on every world. Humanity had not just joined the galactic community as equals. They had become the defenders of peace and freedom throughout the galaxy. The Galactic Council had laughed at humans until their warships arrived. Now, nobody was laughing. They were too busy feeling grateful that humans had chosen to fight for justice instead of conquest. In the end, that made all the difference.